The lake was called Blackwater for a reason. Even in daylight, it swallowed reflections like a hungry mouth. But at night, it became something else entirely. Locals believed the water remembered every soul that drowned in it. Tonight, the Patel family would learn why no one swam after sunset. As the wind whispered through the trees and the water lay still as glass, something beneath the surface slowly opened its eyes.
The Patel's car crunched over the gravel path as they reached the clearing. Arjun bounced in the back seat, peering out the window at the dark silhouettes of pine trees. Vikram carried the bags while Priya fumbled with the lanterns. The air smelled of pine and wet soil. As the sun dipped below the horizon, shadows stretched across the campsite, twisting in ways that seemed almost alive. "Hurry, we need to set up before it gets dark," Vikram called, a hint of unease in his voice. Arjun shivered, not from the cold, but from the feeling that someone or something was watching. Darkness settled over Blackwater Lake like a heavy blanket. The campfire crackled softly as the Patel family finished setting up their tents. Insects chirred from the trees, and the lake reflected the pale glow of the moon. Arjun sat close to the fire, hugging his knees. Somewhere beyond the trees, a branch snapped. Vikram looked up sharply. "Probably a deer," he said, forcing a smile. But Priya's hands trembled as she poured tea into metal cups. The jungle had gone strangely quiet, as if it were holding its breath.
Hours later, the jungle lay silent beneath a sky of drifting clouds. Inside the tent, Arjun's pies fluttered open. His bladder ached, and he tried to ignore it, but the pressure grew unbearable. Slowly, he unzipped the tent. Cold night air rushed in, raising goosebumps on his arms. Outside, the fire had burned down to glowing embers. The forest stood like a wall of blackness beyond the campsite. Arjun crept away from the tent, heart pounding, unaware that something in the darkness had begun to move. The trees closed around Arjun as he stepped farther from the campfire's glow. His breath formed pale clouds in the cold air. Somewhere above him, leaves rustled, though there was no wind. He finished quickly and turned back toward the tents and froze. Between two trees, something shifted. Not an animal, not a shadow. Something tall and thin, watching him without blinking. Arjun's heart slammed in his chest. He didn't scream. He couldn't move. The forest seemed to lean closer, as if listening to his fear.
Arjun's lungs burned as he stumbled backward. The shape between the trees did not chase him. It glided. He spun and ran toward the campsite, branches slapping his face, roots clawing at his feet. Behind him, something moved through the darkness without sound. Too fast, too smooth. The campfire appeared ahead like a dying star. Arjun burst into the clearing, gasping for breath, and dove into the tent, yanking the zipper shut with trembling hands. Arjun shook violently inside the tent, his breath coming in short, broken gasps. The sudden noise woke his parents. "Arjun," Priya whispered, sitting up. He burst into tears, clinging to her. "Something was out there," he sobbed. "It was watching me." Vikram grabbed the flashlight and stepped outside. The fire had almost died, leaving only red embers. The forest stood silent. Too silent. Then he saw the marks in the dirt, long grooves, breast deep into the soil, circling the tent like a warning. The flashlight beam trembled in Vikram's hand as he backed toward the tent. The
strange marks in the dirt seemed to vanish into the trees, as if something had dragged itself away. Then the wind died. From the darkness beyond the firelight, a low sound rose, not a growl, not a breath, but something in between. The tent fabric rustled, brushing against Arjun's back. Priya pulled him closer. "Don't look," she whispered. Outside, a tall shadow slid between the trees. It stopped just beyond the fire's reach and waited.
The shadow outside the firelight shifted and then rushed forward. The tent jolted violently as something slammed into it from the outside. Poles bent, fabric tore. Arjun screamed as the ground shook beneath them. Vikram grabbed a burning log from the fire and swung it through the tent flap. A terrible screech split the night, and the pressure against the tent vanished. Smoke and sparks drifted into the darkness. The forest fell silent once more, but the silence felt wrong.
Dawn crept slowly through the trees, washing the forest in pale gray light. The tent stood torn and crooked, its fabric hanging like broken skin. Burned footprints circled the campsite, leading into the misty woods. Vikram stared at the marks in silence. Priya clutched Arjun close, afraid to let him go. They packed without speaking. Whatever had watched them in the dark was still out there, and it now knew their scent.